So, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs begin to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before you're bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Good morning, gentlemen. Week 13, fantasy season starting to wrap up. Playoff pictures becoming more and more clear. You guys excited for another day of football?
Who isn't? I mean, if we're looking into today, if Michigan can get to the playoffs, anything can happen on Sundays.
Like Kevin Garnett said, anything is possible. Which also is, Marcus, you didn't pull a Brandon and go over.
I honestly, I thought it was, kind of like my beloved Steelers. I guess I came in a little unprepared, a little lazy, a little overconfident this week. We're going to come and show to kind of flirt back with 500 because to the mass publics, that's acceptable.
Absolutely. And guys, we went 15-9 last week. Like last week was a very good week, and it was a tough week. I mentioned in the show last week that there were 8 games at a field goal or less. It was a very tough board last week. This week's almost the opposite. You have 7 games of a touchdown or more, and only 4 games which are a field goal or less. So again, not as good of matchups this week, but certainly a lot of plays. And that's what we're here for. And let's get into what I think could potentially be the most exciting game of the week. The Chargers going West Coast to East Coast at kicking off at 1 o'clock. The Bengals are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 51. Marcus, what are you looking for in this game?
A high-scoring game. There's gonna be a lot of points, but all in all, they're still the Bungles to me. Chargers have been a letdown to me through the last 5-6 weeks. The points will be there. Keenan Allen will be there. I like the Chargers to win it outright, but by the hook, 3.5 points. Take it home.
Yeah, no, I'm taking Cincinnati. Everyone else is on the Chargers, so I'll either be the smartest or the dumbest. We'll find that out here in a few hours. But I think the Bengals are just playing really, really well right now. Their offense is cooking. Their offensive line and defense are overachieving. I like the Bengals, especially at home. I have this weird thing about West Coast teams going to play the early slot on East Coast time. I think the Bengals aren't going to bungle. Derek, are there any players here that you're going to be looking at specifically?
For me, it's really all comes down to Herbert. I think he's been really consistent. He's had the highest QBR in the league this year, but the Chargers are kind of up and down, and I'm kind of gambling on them being up this week. So buy anything in that offense. I think Eckler looks good. I know Keenan Allen's one of Marcus's favorites for a touchdown. I'm all over the pass catchers in San Diego or LA. Sorry. But I also think Joe Mixon is going to feast today.
It's going to be a decade before we get used to LA.
I know. It's going to be a big Joe Mixon day today, I think.
Before I get into my Mixon plays, Marcus, I think you got a take on Mr. Mixon.
I do, and here's just the heads up for everybody. Derek, Brandon, Joey Mixon's been playing some good football, right? He's probably going to rack up some good catches. He might be a PPR monster for you today, but if you're in a touchdown-only league, unlike that girl's face in Oklahoma, he won't be punching it in today. They will keep him out of the end zone.
Oh, no.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's got a touchdown in the last 7 games. The guy is an end zone magnet, an absolute magnet. As far as plays, I like Mixon and Eckler combined over 200 yards. That can be split up however you want.
Is that all purpose?
All purpose.
That is all
Jeez.
purpose. Yes,
It's
I think
free.
that is a home run play at plus money. Plus 110 for them. Total yards, 200. Take that, slam dunk. Another fun one that I've been playing around is most yards. You're going to hear me talk about that across today's slate. I like Mixon to lead the league in rushing, and you get that at plus 750. So that's 8.5 to 1. And like Derek and I said, Mixon is just going to have a field day. Whether he finds the end zone, that is to be determined. But I think all three of us like Mixon and Eckler to rack up the yards today. Speaking of West Coast, let's jump out to the 12th man in Cincinnati. San Francisco, a 3.5 road favorite, going into Seattle, over under 45.5. We're pretty split on this. Marcus and Derek have San Francisco. JC and myself have Seattle. Marcus, what do you think about this game?
For me, this is pretty simple. I've been kind of back and forth on San Francisco. I maybe don't have the best grasp on them, but what I do have the perfect feel on is Seattle. They're booty. They're trash. They're done. And what I expect to happen today, Georgie Kittle finally getting healthy, getting to play a lot. He's going to find the end zone. He's going to find it early. He's going to start rewarding people who drafted him early. I think it's plus 750 for Kittle to score first. I like it. Jimmy G's under the microscope. Basically, they're already saying that short of a Super Bowl, he's gone. He's going to go fucking light it up and say, I'll take my GQ somewhere else. Niners roll.
Jimmy G is low-key putting up a QB1 season. Now, bottom end QB1, but QB1 regardless. I think he's like 13th or 14th right now and just starting to play really, really well.
He's had a solid month.
With that said, I think Russ in Seattle, I think no one does garbage time, sort of like the Seahawks do, and I think the rest of their season is now a garbage season. So I think they just light it up for no other reason than that. And also, San Francisco has a really bad secondary, which is another one of my plays I wanted to bring up. I love Lockett today. He'll be matched up with the number 2 corner. And so I think Metcalf is going to get a ton of attention, and Russ cooks. Lockett, most receiving yards, plus 1,800. That is insane value for something, a really, really advantageous matchup. But outside of Lockett and Kittle, is there anyone else worth rostering here in this game, Derek?
For me, I think both running back situations are the same. I think it's a kind of a crowded mishmash of just average guys. I think AP is going to vulture a lot of touchdowns, but I don't think he's going to have many rushing yards in the middle of the field. I don't think either running back group is rosterable in this game. But I do like some of the pass catchers. I like Everett a lot. Russ seemed to lock on to Everett. I like him a lot. I like Ayuk. I like Debo. There's some other plays I like, but it had nothing besides Everett. I don't think anything involves Seattle. They're just, like Marcus said, they're fucking trash.
All right. Well, we will see. I love the Everett play, channeling your inner JC. JC isn't here to give his tight end love here, but he also loves Everett. But speaking of tight ends, let's move to our next game. No Waller in this game. Waller out. I think that is going to be significant. No pass catcher has really emerged outside of Renfro, who doesn't exactly scare you. This is
physical specimen.
This is my upset of the week. I love Washington. I love that the way they're playing. I teased it to Marcus. Washington might be better without Chase Young. I don't know. That's certainly a take.
That's a no-brainer, guys. He's overrated. He has been, and I'm going to die on that hill. You're welcome. The other hill I'm going to die on, Darren Waller. Overrated bust this year. Look how it's panned out. You're welcome. I'm not right all the time, but when I'm right, I'm fucking right. And there, I'm right.
Yeah. To me, this game's a lot like the last one. It's I don't love Washington. They're kind of hit or miss, up or down. I don't know what you're going to get out of them, but I do know I hate the Raiders.
Sinking ship, Derek. It's a sinking ship there.
They started off strong, and I was on the Raiders ship early in the season, but they've had a lot of off the field stuff happen this year, and they're showing the affects of that.
Absolutely. No McKissick either. That may not seem like a big deal unless you see what the workload percentage is between McKissick and Gibson. That opens up Gibson to just absolutely rake. I've picked most rush yards with Mixon at plus 750, but I think Gibson could also be in the running. I'm going to sprinkle a little play here for Gibson most rush yards at plus 2,200. And I snuck this play in, so it won't be on the screen. I apologize. But I like Gibson to get 100 and Renfro to get 100. That little player parlay pays out at plus 1,300. So that is all-purpose yards. So, again, I don't think Renfro is going to be running it much, but that's Gibson to get 100 plus and Renfro to get 100 plus. Pays out at plus 1,300. Derek, I know you love those little player parlays, so I kind of took that from your book.
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid one too. I like anytime you get big plus money on something, that's completely, that's not a crazy outcome.
No, not at all. All right, let's jump to our primetime games because, I mean, they're both sort of kind of the playoff variety. I could definitely see this as potential wild card weekend, maybe divisional weekend matchups here. Let's start at Arrowhead. Denver putting up 10 points, getting 10 points against Kansas City at a sneaky low over-under of 47. We're all on Denver. Now, my question for you two, first, Marcus, are you having an upset here, or is this just a cover?
No, this is just covering. I'm buying on 10.5. That they're playing just good enough. And Kansas City's playing good enough, or else I would probably lean more money line. It's not out of the realm. Weird shit happens, like Michigan, haha. But yeah, I think it's an easy cover. I do like a lower. Yeah, I'm shooting overs with Kansas City, but I think this game should come down to the wire relatively late. But 10 points is just too much to pass up on.
Yeah, the books, this says dropped 2 points since we did this. It's actually at 8 right now. Does your feelings change on Denver plus 8?
No, my feelings would change at 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sound on Denver right now. Melvin Gordon's out, so that's gonna kind of hurt. Division games, man. The double-digit division games against two competitive teams, double digits just too easy.
What about that over/under at 47?
It should be higher, but I'm gonna run this one under. Teddy B teams don't score too often. I know they dropped 30 some odd, like 37 against the Cowboys, but Kansas City's defense has stepped it up just enough. We're looking at like a 24-21, 24-20 ball game.
Yep. All right, Derek. What about the ton of players in this game? Marcus mentioned that Melvin Gordon is out, unfortunately. But what about this other skill positions, and what about the quarterbacks in this game?
I mean, I'm Teddy Bridgewater. You're not getting value there. He's not going to light it up. That's not his game plan. Maybe Mahomes, if you want to spend that much money on a quarterback, from a daily standpoint, he's kind of a good foundation. I think he'll have a good game today. But for me, it's all about the Tyreek Hills, the Kelseys. Pick one. And hope you've gambled right, because the way that teams have played in this year, one or the other pops off. So just hope you pick the right one, I guess. For me, I'm leaning Kelsey. I mean, it's a bigger Kelsey day than a Tyreek day. I do think that Denver, they made some early investments in the draft at corner. They're pretty solid at corner. I think it's a big Kelsey day. And from kind of a sneaky pick that I'm liking in DFS is Mike Boone, to kind of replace some of those goal line carries. I think they definitely have defined roles in Denver as far as what Javonte and Melvin does. So I think Mike steps in and kind of fills that Melvin Gordon role and might grab a touchdown or two.
Fills that hole.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on Kelsey. I'm taking Kelsey as an anytime touchdown score at plus money. That's very, very rare. And I'm with you. What do you make of the backfield, though? Are you staying away from CEH and Javonte, Derek?
In DFS, I think so, just because I think Javante's price is popped up enough. CEH, I stay away from any opportunity I can. I am so burned on that guy. I want nothing to do with him at all.
Yeah, I actually do think this game is going to sneakily go under. I don't expect a shootout. Marcus, your point there on the Chiefs' defense, that has been a storyline. And Mahomes. What do I ever say every week in our group chat? Mahomes is a turnover machine, and Denver can certainly create them. I think this is going to be a sneakily sloppy game, and like I said, we're all on Denver. All right, let's move to the Monday night game, which is, again, one of the better Monday night games I can remember. And I'm actually going to send this over to Derek, our resident Patriot fan. What do you think about this divisional matchup and the Patriots getting points?
New England money line is what I think. To me, this is a pretty easy. I think it's an easy one. I think it's just look where these two teams are trending. New England's beating everybody pretty soundly. They're playing a really good defense. Buffalo's been up and down. Like they're in a little bit of an identity crisis right now, and I think that's exploitable. I absolutely love the fact that they're getting points here, and I think I like the over a lot. I could see New England put up another 30 points like they have been lately, and Buffalo's going to chip in theirs, obviously.
Yeah, so you're thinking a shootout. Marcus, if it is a shootout, what players are you going to look at to do some damage Monday night?
Dawson Knox, I think for Buffalo is the only option you really have for solid value. One thing we know to be true with New England, they take away the best player, and that is Stephon Diggs. He has scored 5 touchdowns in 6 games. Do not look for that shit to continue. New England, it's always a mix and match. Hunter Henry probably scores. Who knows? But it's also going to be weather permitting, man. We could get some heavy rain, some sloppiness up in Buffalo. But I'm expecting kind of like a statement win here out of Josh Allen. Close. There will not be any blowouts, but I like Buffalo for that reason. But the weather is kind of the over-under. If the weather is good, it's over. If the weather is bad, it's going to be close.
Yep. I got an interesting player parlay here, Derek. Jones passing and Josh Allen rushing over 300 yards as a plus money player. Are you touching that?
I am not. Just because I think for Allen to be successful, I think their game plan is definitely keeping him in the pocket, trying to throw the ball. I don't know how many yards he's going to chip in the passing game or in the running game, and I think this is going to be one of those. I think there's going to be some turnovers. There's going to be a lot of short fields for New England. I think New England wants to run the ball. I could see Jones down in like the 200, 250 range as far as passing.
Yep. I have a very important fantasy matchup. I need to win to stay into the playoffs, and I'm going against Josh Allen. Should I be worried, Marcus? Do you think Josh Allen has a good day?
He'll high teens, low 20s. That's the point. He won't blow the doors off. He won't be a top 5 QB this week.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Nothing to be too fearful of.
Okay, because he definitely is top 5 QB an overall year. He's actually number 2. He's right behind Mahomes at around 160 points this year, depending on what kind of league you're in. So he is quarterback 2, and you're saying he's going to have a bottom, not top 5 play. So that'd
be correct.
All right, let's do a little bit of quick hits here, real quick. And it wouldn't be our show if Marcus wasn't talking Arizona. Arizona, an 8-point favorite going into Chicago. Any lines here you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would have leaned Chicago based on some injuries that the Cardinals have been milking and dealing with here for the last month. Kyler comes back, Hopkins comes back. They're going to put on a show, end this game early, and then get ready to really expand their lead against the Rams next week. Take the Cardinals, take a double-digit win. Red Rocket will not get the job done. Let me see a little Isaiah Simmons. He's been very good this year. I'd like to see him score because I'm sure he's got a fantastic touchdown celebration primed and ready. But hammer the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals are, and I'm putting the jinx on it, lock of the week. It's Andy Dalton. It's no good. The Cardinals defense is fantastic. A play here I like is Mooney and Connor. They have to combine for 2 touchdowns. That doesn't matter if Mooney gets 2 or Connor gets 2. It seems like Connor always has 2 touchdown games. That's a plus 140 play. I love that. And Mooney's playing really, really good ball too. He's bailing out a lot of Andy Dalton. Let's move to the NFC North and talk Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota, a touchdown favorite going into Hockey Town. Derek, anything you want to discuss here?
That one's tough for me. I think it's going to be right around that number. I definitely like Minnesota to win, but the Lions, they find painful ways to lose late, and I don't know if that keeps it under a touchdown. So for me, I would kind of close my eyes, say Minnesota covers, but this isn't something I'd put money on.
What about Kirk Cousins? Is he a DFS play, a little bit on the cheap? Because I think he lights up the Lions.
I do too, but DFS thinks that too. There's not a lot of value there. He is actually up in the higher, more expensive range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I do like him, and if you can build a team around it and you have the money to spend on it, I think he's probably a really consistent play. I think Justin Jefferson has a good day. I think they lean on the pass a little bit more than they normally would with Dalvin out, but I still think Madison gets his yards.
Yep. Yeah, Madison, again, I think he's going to win some people some fantasy weeks. If you've been stashing him, if you've been handcuffing him, it's going to pay off this week for sure. All right, let's go out east to a matchup of Gardner Minshew and Zach Wilson. Only Marcus Anthony can make this game entertaining.
It's pretty easy. Minshew magic. Who's not ready? Who's not excited? At least Jalen Hurts will get to rest up. Sorry for everyone who has him in fantasy football. I got a bye week coming next week. I think the biggest play here for me is Miles Sanders, a guy who early on in the season before he got hurt, Philly just didn't know what the hell they were doing as a whole, kind of getting back into rhythm. Expect a big day from him. I actually like him to score first today and get his first rushing touchdown of the season. Like, who would have thought we'd be this far? No touchdowns from Miles Sanders. I think he gets in twice today. Gardner Minshew, I actually am going to start him in one DFS lineup, man. Super cheap, fun. Jets suck. We could get 3 touchdowns, and I think he's just under 6,000, 5,600, somewhere in there. Huge value for someone who could get you in the high teens, low 20s to really stack up some other players. But I'm also going to be running a lot of Miles Sanders today.
Gotcha. Let's move to something that I'm not going to make Marcus talk about. It is Ravens week, and we talked about sinking ships. No ship is sinking quite like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do the Steelers have a shot today, Derek, or is this a blowout?
So I have a short answer to long answer. Short answer is no. Long answer is you would like to see. You hear rumblings that Ben's going to retire. Obviously, no brainer. You'd like to see kind of a farewell and the guys, the troops rally behind him. There's just nothing to rally behind. He's got nothing left in the tank. He's just really just tiptoeing to the finish line, if you will. Ravens back at mostly full power. I think they absolutely roll.
I do too, but I think Marcus thinks differently. I do think. Are you calling for the upset here?
The only comment I really have as far as Ben retiring, it shouldn't be news. We knew this was his last season when he signed that extension. There's other shit that people could be talking about. And yeah, they can't afford to lose today because then Tomlin's 500 record, his career non-losing season is going to be in jeopardy because they've got Minnesota. They got a tough stretch. Nothing would be it'd be a beautiful send-off for Ben to beat the Ravens at home one last time. I just like him to cover. That's about it. But
there we go.
But I trust in my coach's inconsistent efforts to have them ready to not be like such pussies today. But yeah, go Steelers. We'll see what happens. But good value at +4. It's division.
It is Ravens week. Like normally, I've already played Renegade like 6 times. I'm on like my 5th beer. I haven't played it once, and I haven't had a drip. It's a weird Ravens Steelers.
You know what's
game.
coming.
I do. I sadly know that it could get ugly. Speaking of ugly games, and a team that Marcus actually wants to talk about, Colts, double-digit road favorites going into Houston. Does Indy cover that big number?
No, I'll keep it simple. Just like every other week for the last season and 5 seasons before that and for the next 3 seasons, it's a Brandon Cooks week. Him and Jonathan Taylor, I know you're going to talk on that here in a little bit. 10 points is just a lot. It's not that Houston's really good. I might just be too sweet on them, and I say that all the time as well. But I like the 10 points to cover at home, buying them to 10.5. I like double digits home dogs in division games.
Yeah, no. Speaking of Taylor, it wouldn't be a show if us three didn't talk Brandon Cooks. I have another player parlay here. Jonathan Taylor and Brandon Cooks over 175 yards pays out at plus 110. That's a nice little player parlay. Personally, Jonathan Taylor could get that by himself, but I do think it's probably a nice little even split there. Marcus, one play that I want to talk about before we jump over to Derek is I see you're playing Rex Burkhead. What are you expecting out of him today with David Johnson not playing?
Well, I'm expecting some catches, man. Burkhead, he's due for one sneaky 30-plus point performance. He has them every year.
30! That might be your wildest take yet.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to get quite the 30, but my other problem is every other running back I have is injured. Fortunately, I'm in a position to I'm either going to be the 2 seed or the 3 seed, depending on how me and Derek score and perform today. He thinks it's 3, but my team's banged up, is what it is. So maybe Rex Burkhead will be the great white hope that Christian McCaffrey cannot be.
I need you to be the 3 seed because I don't know if I can survive a playoff game next week.
All right. So the last game we're going to talk about, and because I think this is going to be a DFS, a fantasy dream, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I love everyone in Tampa Bay. What about you, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. Atlanta's fucking trash. They're back to being who we thought they were. They've looked really inconsistent lately. Matt Ryan's a bum. I can go on and on and on. I like Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I think that's a good move. One of those similar, we talked about it earlier with some of the other wide receiver groups. If you have the ability to play a Bucs wide receiver, kind of play your lotto ticket, but you don't know who the guy is going to be. The only guy it's not going to be is Antonio Brown because he's not playing. Anybody else is wide open. But I do like Cordarrelle Patterson to kind of do a little bit of everything. And I'm hoping this is another day that Pitts kind of gets on track. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
What about garbage time? Because I do think if you brought up Pitts, I think either Cordell or Pitts, one of them will get a garbage time touchdown in this game.
I'm hoping it's Pitts, but we'll see.
Guys, I only have one note, and if every DFS should have Mike Evans today. He's had 3 or 4 duds in a row. Tom Brady likes to keep everything kind of distributed. That's why I don't like Leonard Fournette to kind of go off as far as touchdowns go. Mike Evans will be fed the ball. I know he struggled in domes throughout his career, but he's gonna have first touchdown for sure. But Mike Evans is gonna be in that. He's gonna be a top 5 receiver today, probably top 2.
Wow. Yeah. There we go. Guys, it's parlay time. We've all been so close, whether that is dog parlays or touchdown parlays. I think this is the week. My dog parlay of the week is the football team, the Seahawks, and capping it off Monday night with New England. That's paying out at over plus 1,000. It's actually 1,027. So again, a lot of value with only needing 3 wins. I know these guys both I know Derek likes Washington and New England. So if you had to pick another underdog to replace Seattle, Derek, who would that be?
If I had to pick another underdog to replace Seattle, I would go Chargers.
Going the Chargers? That's where I thought you'd go with your boy Herbert. All right, and then let's jump. I know Marcus wants to talk touchdowns. My touchdown parlay is I think Kyler comes back. I think we get a little scramble with him. I think the little guy gets running over there in Chicago. I like Lenny, despite what Marcus said. I don't think he gets 4 touchdowns, but I think maybe Mike Evans gets a pass interference in the end zone, and Lenny walks in a 1-yard run. And then I like Thielen again. I think Cousins is going to feast, and to do that, he's going to have to throw it to somebody. And I think Thielen is a touchdown magnet as well. And then Logan Thomas. I love Logan Thomas. He's been banged up all year. He's kind of getting his football legs back into him. I like Logan Thomas, but I was talking with Marcus, and if you don't like Logan Thomas, replace that with Kittle. It does hurt the value a little bit. It takes that parlay from plus 2,700 to just a little over plus 2,000.
Or Hunter Henry.
Or Hunter Henry. Yeah, I don't know what that would be. I didn't look that one up.
Yeah,
but that's also That's also a good play. A lot of good tight ends. I think JC isn't here to talk tight ends, but I think there's a lot of good tight end options. Maybe even throw a Jared Everett in there.
I'm gonna say, sneaky Everett play might pay well.
Yep. So that's my touchdown play. Marcus, what about your touchdown round robin that you've just won a shit ton of money on this year?
These are my favorite. You can either bet big, bet little, but you can run a 16 round robin for under $6. 3 teams starts getting you up into the makes your month. But Keenan Allen, these guys are you can do anytime, less value, but every single one of the players you see here is going to be at least 7-1 to 13-1, which when you see how the parlay calculators stack up, it's astronomical how much money can come in. Love Kittle. I love Miles Sanders today. You have to love Hopkins coming back, put a show on early, get that connection rolling. Mike Evans, he's my ace this. He is the gun. He's the bullet. He's whatever saying that you have. However, you need to convince yourself to put Mike Evans in that. Put him in there. He's going to feast today.
You are championing the Miles Sanders bandwagon here on this show today.
Yeah. Now, 2 subs that I would have here with Cooper Kupp, Sonny Michel, huge value with Darrell Henderson out today. And actually, I'm starting Sonny Michel in some DFS lineups. How do you not? He's cheap. They've got a bad defense they're going up against. But these are the guys I like. These guys should score and should score early and often.
Yes, I think Cooper Kupp, I would have liked if OBJ wasn't there because I think Stafford kind of force feeds OBJ a little bit. OBJ is playing, but I think Coop still has a great day. I love Hopkins to come back. I think they rested him up knowing he was going to be 100%. They didn't rush him back early. I think that's a good call. I like Hopkins today. And then I said, we always love Keenan Allen. Like this show can just pretty much live on Keenan Allen and Brandon Cooks. That is our wheelhouse. All right. Any Derek's digs today?
No digs today. I'm spending all my time trying to think of a good pun for the Saints and Jets game next week. We got the little Mormon showdown, so I'm trying to think of something good.
There we go. Last thing I want to ask you before we get out of here and go lock in our bets and go get our setups all ready. Who are you replacing, or who should fantasy owners who got the Hurts news last night, who should they go and pick up? Taylor Heineke, Gardner Minshew?
It depends what your need is. If it's a 1 week need, I don't mind Gardner or Heineke. I think those are both actually really good picks, and they'd be kind of top of list. For me, and I think Marcus is the same, I went Tyrod Taylor because 1, you get him this week, high floor, and 2, he's got a good matchup next week, and Hurts is bye week. So right now you have a problem. You don't have Hurts for 2 weeks. Limited roster space. Tyrod can kind of get you both done.
NFL, eliminate these late buys. Doesn't do anyone good. Late buys need to go away. All right, boys. It's always been a blast. We will talk next Sunday where a lot of fantasy playoffs will start. So we'll sprinkle in a little bit more fantasy than normal. Until next time, talk to you guys later.
Bye.